Hello everyone and welcome to my digital portfolio. I'm Pritha Sharma, a graduate student in the Masters in Learning Design and Technology program at the University of South Florida College of Education, Tampa campus. In this video, I will help you go through my digital portfolio wherein I showcase artifacts based on the AECD standards, and I will also share my experiences of creating these artifacts and how they have helped me in my pursuit of being an instructional designer. My portfolio has links to web pages. At the top you can see the home page where we are, and another link to AECD standards, the page that we will go through next. We also have a link to artifacts through this tab, and we can see there's a list of the various AECD standard pages, a reflection page, and a YouTube portfolio presentation link which will take you to this video. So when we go to the tab AECD standards, the link will take us to a page which describes the AECD standards which were adopted in 2012. AECD stands for the Association for Educational Communications and Technology, and these areas of the national standards help in describing the content knowledge, content pedagogy, learning environments, professional knowledge and skills, and research. And each of these focus areas is wherein I have developed artifacts. So we can see that we have a list of the standards. Standard 1, content knowledge, where candidates demonstrate the knowledge necessary to create, use, assess, and manage theoretical and practical applications of educational technologies and processes. And we can see that there are 5 indicators: S1.1, creating; S1.2, using; S1.3, assessing or evaluating; S1.4, managing; and S1.5, ethics. So basis this, I have created artifacts which cover standard 1 and the substandards. Similarly, standard 2 refers to content pedagogy, where candidates develop as reflective practitioners able to demonstrate effective implementation of educational technologies and processes based on contemporary content and pedagogy. Similarly, we have similar indicators: S2.1, creating; S2.2, using; S2.3, assessing; S2.4, managing; and S2.5, ethics. The third standard refers to standard 3, learning environments, where candidates facilitate learning by creating, using, evaluating, and managing effective learning environments. And the substandards that I would be referring to are S3.1, creating; S3.2, using; S3.3, assessing, evaluating; S3.4, managing; S3.5, ethics, and an additional substandard is S3.6, diversity of learners. And you can see that below each standard is a link which will take us to our standard. So this was just an example. By clicking on the link, it will take you to the page. So you can also access or go back to the main page using the links at the top. Similarly, we have standard 4, professional knowledge and skills, where candidates design, develop, implement, and evaluate technology-rich learning environments within a supporting community of practice. And we can see that I have listed the indicators: S4.1, collaborative practice; S4.2, leadership; S4.3, reflection on practice; S4.4, assessing, evaluating; and S4.5, ethics. And similarly, we have the tabs at the bottom to take you to the artifacts. And standard 5, that is the last standard, is research, wherein candidates explore, evaluate, synthesize, and apply methods of inquiry to enhance learning and improve performance. The indicators are S5.1 theoretical foundations, 5.2 method, 5.3 assessing, evaluating, and 5.4 ethics. So we can have a look at the standards by clicking on the tab on the buttons below, but at the same time you can also access them from the link. The title is artifacts, and you can clicking the link will take you to the respective standard. Now let's go to ACT standard 1. So when we click on the tab on the button, we will access the first standard, content knowledge. Candidates demonstrate the knowledge necessary to create, use, assess, and manage theoretical and practical applications of educational technologies and processes. In the first substandard for this standard, creating, I had created an instructional video for my course EME 6208 Interactive Media. This was an individual assignment. I was a language teacher in India, and I always felt that there is a need for more creative instructional interventions to help teachers, that is, language teachers, instruct learners. When it comes to foreign language, using multimodal or creative strategies helps learners, especially young learners, acquire vocabulary and practice grammar very fast. So basis this, I decided to create a video on using colors as cognitive tools for language teaching and learning. I created a video production plan, which you can view by clicking on the view artifact video production plan link over here, and you can also access the video by clicking on the link here. So the main purpose of this video was to help language teachers use something as simple as colors to instruct the learners. As a designer, I was able to use Movavi video editor, and I was able to include different images, audio, self-recorded videos, and infographics. So I used all these tools to create an engaging learning video for language teachers, and the competencies met are planning and monitoring training projects. I was able to assess the relevant characteristics of the target audience, assess the relevant characteristics of the setting, perform job task and or content analysis, select relevant instructional media for the video, and I developed training program materials. For substandard 1.2 using, I created an artifact for EME 6055 current trends in instructional technology. My focus was again on language learning. However, I was trying to look at it from the perspective of children's literature. So I chose to explore augmented reality, because we know figurative language is a difficult concept for ELA teachers. So perhaps using an emerging technology such as AR can help language teachers or ELA teachers instruct young learners, and using images obviously makes it easy to correlate with the linguistic density of the text that they read. So in this artifact, I drafted a research paper, and we were supposed to present our ideas on the vision of the future classroom using an emerging technology. You can access the paper by clicking on the link, and the competencies met are assessing the relevant characteristics of the target audience, describing the characteristics of instructional media, and discussing instructional design strategies appropriate to the curricular objectives. For substandard 1.3, assessing, evaluating, I again used an artifact from EME 6055, that is current trends in instructional technology. I evaluated 2 educational games, the blood typing game from nobelprize.org, and Grand Prix multiplication from academics. So I was able to understand each game, its relevance, and also I got a little exposed to game mechanics, which is what motivated me to take game design and development for learning in a subsequent semester. So my analysis demonstrates my ability to view, assess, and evaluate online learning games in terms of instructional design, adaptivity, engagement, and educational goal alignment. And the competencies met are evaluating instruction, program, and process, recommending instructional strategies, and performing content analysis by analyzing the characteristics of a body of knowledge. The final artifact for this standard is is for the substandard of managing, substandard 1.4. So I was pursuing an internship with Pangea Chat, and this is for that course, internship in e-learning, EME 6936. So this was an individual assignment, and I drafted and designed lesson plans wherein we were using emoji, which is more like a universal linguistic symbol, to help pre-A1 learners learn or acquire vocabulary in a chat-based medium. So the learners were able to acquire basic vocabulary, and most of the learners were very young. So I was able to use the emoji as a learning mechanic. And this really helps learners get more comfortable with a foreign language, which is something that intimidates language learners. This artifact demonstrates my ability to plan and manage an instructional activity on an educational mobile application. It also exposed me a bit to user experience design. And the competencies met are developing an instructional plan and schedules, identifying resource allocation requirements, monitoring activities and making appropriate adjustments to achieve product goals, identifying constraints that impact budget, schedule, and resource requirements. Now, let's look at ACT Standard 2, Content Pedagogy. Candidates develop as reflective practitioners able to demonstrate effective implementation of educational technologies and processes based on contemporary content and pedagogy. For Substandard 2.1 Creating, I designed an online course in the LMS Canvas for my course EME 6456 Online Teaching Methods. The target audience consisted of teachers of different subjects, so I decided to focus on the title, How to Use Metacognitive Strategies for Improved Learning Outcomes. As a learner and teacher, I was able to understand how chunking, summarizing, and color coding work as effective metacognitive strategies in the classroom. However, I also learned that Canvas can be used to teach cognitively heavy topics to learners of all age groups. This artifact demonstrates that I can effectively and independently create online instructional material to help learners improve their learning outcomes. The competencies met are understanding the relationship between course creation and learning management systems, selecting and constructing appropriate interactions and user control techniques. I was able to develop storyboards for my modules using a template appropriate to the needs of the online course, and write scripts that included relevant instructional material to help students appreciate the main ideas of the topic. For Substandard 2.2 Using, I designed a job aid using Adobe Photoshop. You can view the job aid by clicking on the link. This is for the course EME 6208 Interactive Media. As I had already discussed, I was fascinated by how augmented reality can be used in the classroom to understand figurative language. So in this, I focused on understanding metaphors, and for this, I designed the proposed an idea for a mobile application called Literary. And for using the app Literary, I created a job aid with sequences to indicate how to use the app. This artifact helped me understand how performance problem analysis helps in designing job aids for effective instructional design. The content is difficult to comprehend, so effective pedagogy empowers the instructional designer. And the competencies met are assessing the relevant characteristics of the target audience and of the setting, performing job task content analysis, selecting instructional media appropriate for the job aid, and recommending instructional strategies. This also acts as a training program material. For Substandard 2.3, assessing and evaluating, I had taken the course EME 6157 Game Design and Development for Learning. So for this, we had designed a game, an educational game, which was focusing on understanding how to navigate a Renaissance survival simulation. And this was a role-playing game focusing on medieval history for high school students. And for this artifact, I had contributed to a final play testing report. You can refer to the report by clicking on the link here. And we recruited 12 participants and gathered both qualitative and quantitative data. We also drafted surveys. And my job was also to conduct a think aloud protocol and compile the results of the surveys. So this artifact demonstrates that I was able to conduct play tests, analyze participant experiences, and apply the findings to improve educational game design. As per our learning objectives, the competencies met were to perform an analysis, assess the relevant characteristics of the target audience and of the setting, again perform job task and content analysis, recommend instructional strategies or interventions on the basis of the playtesting report, and develop performance measurement instruments such as surveys and interviews. I evaluated instruction, program, and the process of designing our educational game. For the final Substandard 2.4 managing, I was able to create a usability testing report. So this really helped me also develop or hone my skills as a UX researcher in the EdTech domain. So for this, I conducted a usability testing activity for Buzu, which is a language learning application. So I used the mobile app, and I had recruited a few participants of different age groups. So this really helped me complete this assignment. This was an individual assignment for EME 6208 Interactive Media, and this project demonstrates my ability to manage appropriate technological processes and resources while supporting a diverse group of learners. So it also helped me apply appropriate content pedagogy in analyzing user experiences. The competencies met were assessing the relevant characteristics of the setting, performing job, task, or content analysis, recommending instructional strategies, and developing effective training program materials. For ACT Standard 3, learning environments, I developed a few artifacts focusing on facilitating learning by creating, using, evaluating, and managing effective learning environments. For Substandard 3.1 creating, I had collaborated with 3 other team members to create an educational game using Godot game engine to meet the learning objectives of helping high school students understand the lives of medieval peasants. The game followed a branched narrative logic, and you can access the game based on the link here. This was for EME 6157, Game Design and Development for Learning. I was mainly the leader for the group, and I also was the game designer. Our team had brainstormed and come up with various ideas for designing the game, and we focused on a lot of dialogue design and different decision making scenarios. So I feel that this game really helped me understand how game based learning environments are effective and immersive and environments to help learners understand complex concepts. The competencies met were to perform a needs assessment and analysis. We planned and monitored our training project, and we kept altering it as per the need. We assessed the relevant characteristics of the target audience and the setting. And I performed job task content analysis and wrote criterion referenced performance based objectives. We selected effective instructional media and focused on also using engaging design elements such as assets and music. We recommended effective instructional strategies, developed performance measurement instruments, and this was also an instructional intervention, but we designed a training program material to help the learner understand how to play the game. At the end of it, I also evaluated instruction program and process, and with each outcome, we improved our game wherever necessary. For substandard 3.2 using, I was part of a team where we created an instructional design proposal. This artifact was created in EDF 6284, Problems in Instructional Design for Computers. I was part of a 5-member team, and as part of this assignment, we focused on AI literacy for parents of high school students, and we created a proposal to help them understand how to guide their teenagers with homework help using ChatGPT. So my part was to focus on one of the lessons of the modules, and I designed the lesson for helping students, high school students, write academic essays focusing on humanities, particularly analyzing historical texts. I used various videos and images and visual maps. I also gamified the assessment process, and this entire module the lesson was designed using Articulated Rise 360. This artifact helped me understand how instructional design is a detailed process and requires multiple iterations before finalizing the instruction. And I was also able to collaborate with different team members to create a high quality product. So the competencies met were assessing the relevant characteristics of the target audience, in this case high school students' parents, assessing the relevant characteristics of the setting, performing job task content analysis, selecting instructional media effectively and relevantly, and recommending instructional strategies by developing training program materials. For substandard 3.3, assessing evaluating, as part of my internship for e-learning EME 6936, I compiled a UX improvement report for the NSF funded startup Pangea Chat. I had performed quality assurance tasks, and I had determined around 96 UX bugs. So I collected all the information related to these and compiled a report. This again helped me understand the importance of UX research and its relation to effective instructional design. The competencies met for this are developing performance measures, including criterion referenced achievement tests, questionnaires, interviews, simulation scenarios, observation checklists, performance checklists, and product checklists. I was able to judge the validity and reliability of instruction based on the results of the interviews and questionnaires, and I generated specifications for revisions based on the feedback collected during evaluation. For substandard 3.4, I had designed a visual interface design document, that is information architecture, for my website. This was created for the course EME 6207 Web Design, and as part of this assignment I decided to individually design a website using HTML CSS to focus on Conversed, which is a website which provides services in the conversational UX space for educating young learners in the classroom. For this artifact, I analyzed the website in terms of information hierarchy, user personas, by providing the impact of the website in terms of functionality and aesthetics. The competencies met are developing a target audience profile and developing flowcharts to identify learning events at the frame specific level using standardized symbology. Now, moving on to Standard 4. Professional knowledge and skills. Candidates design, develop, implement, and evaluate technology-rich learning environments within a supportive community of practice. For this standard, for Standard 4.1, collaborative practice, I had designed a lesson in Articulate Rise as per our instructional design proposal for my course EDF 6284 Problems in Instructional Design for Computers. As part of this assignment, I designed a proposal with my team members to enable parents of high school students to guide their teenagers with homework help using ChatGPT. I had designed a lesson for academic writing for humanities, particularly analysis of historical texts. I used my knowledge of AI literacy, that is zero-shot prompting, multi-shot prompting, and temperature, and my experiences as a writing instructor, and designed engaging lessons for high school students. The competencies met in this artifact are understanding the relationship between course creation and learning management systems, selecting and constructing appropriate interactions in RISE and user control techniques, developing storyboards using a template appropriate to the needs of the course, and writing scripts for the videos that include relevant instructional material. For Substandard 4.2 Leadership, I had played the role of a leader or project manager for the course EME 6157 Game Design and Development for Learning. In this course, my team members and I had created a 2D platformer game which immerses learners in Renaissance history, and they had to make decisions to make historically informed decisions during a stimulated journey. So players encountered hazards and chose between most relevant decisions or options at the time. And for this artifact, I helped my team members design a storyboard for our game mechanic. I was able to understand the difference between designing a game and designing a game mechanic during this experience. This project helped me demonstrate my leadership skills and helped me act as a helpful team member by guiding my team members to take the right actions to design an engaging storyboard for our minimum viable game mechanic. The competencies met were assessing the relevant characteristics of the target audience, that is high school students, and the setting, performing job task and content analysis, selecting appropriate instructional media, recommending instructional strategies, and developing training program materials. The final substandard was focused on ethics, wherein I wrote a scholarly paper for my course EME 6347 Digital Media and Learning. This was an individual submission wherein I critically analyzed the role of large language models in enhancing the connected learning framework in online learning environments. I particularly focused on the community of inquiry model. The competencies met were demonstrating ethical decision making in the design and use of educational technologies, the analysis of social, cultural, and political implications of technology in particularly online learning environments, advocating for learner privacy, autonomy, and fairness in technology mediated instruction, and applying philosophical and theoretical frameworks to evaluate ethical issues in emerging technologies such as large language models. For our final standard, research, candidates explore, evaluate, synthesize, and apply methods of inquiry to enhance learning and improve performance. For this standard, the first substandard focuses on theoretical foundations. For this, I had co-authored a research paper with a partner under the supervision of Dr. Pei for my course EME 6356 Introduction to Big Data and Learning Analytics. This was the first extensive systematic literature review that I had written to investigate how large language models are transforming learning analytics. I was able to appreciate how using large language models in a data-driven learning environment can improve learner outcomes. This artifact demonstrates my ability to conduct educational research, understand the complex findings from it, and draw implications for the applications of LLMs in educational contexts. I was able to perform a needs assessment, assess the relevant characteristics of the target audience, and identify appropriate source documentation to support analysis. I was also able to discuss learning theories, instructional design strategies, instructional psychology, and learning styles appropriate to the curricular objectives. The second substandard focused on method. I had designed an online course for EME 6456 online teaching methods on how to use metacognitive strategies for improved learning outcomes. Based on this course, I had also designed an online course evaluation rubric. This rubric was developed with evidence-based framework and a research-based approach, wherein I had included models such as community of inquiry and the replace, amplify, transform model. Through this process, I was able to use evidence-based research to create an effective rubric for my course. The competencies met were assessing the relevant characteristics of the target audience and the setting, performing job, task, and content analysis, selecting appropriate instructional media, recommending instructional strategies, and developing training program materials. The final substandard focused on assessing and evaluating. For this particular substandard, I had designed an individual video presentation for the course EME 6208 Interactive Media, focusing on multimedia design and particularly the principle of personalization. This presentation helped me understand how using an effective principle can help us in creating more meaningful instructional interventions. The competencies focused on understanding the learning theories, the instructional design strategies, instructional psychology, and learning styles appropriate to the curricular objectives. And I was able to provide a rationale for the selection of this particular instructional approach while designing meaningful instructional and educational content. Finally, I want to focus on what I have learned in the last 1.5 years. Before beginning my learning design and technology program, I had a very bookish idea of what instructional design or learning design could be. However, in the last 1.5 years, I have grown as an instructional designer, but I have also grown as a learning researcher. I feel that creating these artifacts helped me develop a generalist's perspective towards learning design and technology. I was able to understand not only the learning theories behind instructional design, but also understand its application to emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and augmented reality. I was able to benefit from my interactions with my professors who were always helpful in guiding me. I feel that, contrary to critics, technology is actually an enabler in the classroom. And my program and my experiences have helped me understand how using technology can actually make the students' learning journey more comfortable. I feel I have also understood and appreciated current trends such as conversational AI for learning. I hope to benefit from my experiences in this program and to hone my skills further and appreciate learning design and its full potential.